It is obscene that some people will turn a global, unfortunate situation into an opportunity to defraud the public. You may never have heard that the COVID-19 pandemic that left millions dead and put the rest of the world in a gloomy state was an opportunity for some people to perpetrate their premeditated thievery. But not after watching this video. You are about to discover an ugly truth. On today's episode of The Fraud Files, we'll be exploring the case of Tiffany Russell and Olusola Ojo, who were masterminds of the COVID-19 fraud conspiracies. To get all the facts in this story, make sure you watch till the end of the video to follow the details, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button to become part of this channel, and click the bell icon to get notified of subsequent videos. Without much ado, let's get started. In an investigation carried out by the FBI and the Internal Revenue Service, a Durham attorney, Tiffany Russell, was found responsible for multiple fraud conspiracies. Tiffany Russell's criminal career originally came to light when she was indicted on November 2020 for conspiracy to commit bank fraud, access device fraud, and misuse of a social security number. According to the indictment, Tiffany Russell and her co-conspirators applied for loans and credit cards with social security numbers that were not issued to them by the Social Security Administration. By doing so, they created new credit profiles or synthetic identities for themselves to open financial accounts and make purchases from retailers without any intention of paying for the items and services obtained. Tiffany Russell was charged with using a synthetic identity to purchase a BMW and to obtain a credit card, which she used to pay for her 2016 butt augmentation surgery. Tiffany Russell also embarked on a scheme of credit washing to remove legitimate debt accounts from her credit history by falsely claiming she was the victim of identity theft and had not opened those accounts. Once the credit reporting agencies removed those accounts, her credit score improved, enabling her to obtain credit. She also provided fabricated documents when applying for mortgages to purchase 3 properties, including an oceanfront residence in Nags Head, North Carolina. Tiffany Russell gave doctored bank statements and inflated pay stubs to make it appear she had substantial liquid assets and the ability to pay the loans. Finally, between March 30th, 2020 and June 29th, 2020, Tiffany Russell and others fraudulently obtained more than $1 million in loans under the CARES Act, which was enacted by the U.S. Congress to provide emergency financial assistance to millions of Americans suffering from the COVID-19 pandemic. The 10 loan applications, including 2 from her law firm, contained false representations relating to the number of employees, monthly payroll, revenue, and expenses. Tiffany Russell used these illegally obtained proceeds to make the down payment on her Nags Head property and purchase 5 other properties in North Carolina, Maryland, and Alabama. Tiffany Russell also used these ill-gotten gains to pay outstanding personal debt, unrelated to any business entity. Fortunately, Tiffany Russell was sentenced to 63 months imprisonment for her role in an extensive multi-year fraud conspiracy and was sentenced to 36 months for filing a false tax return. These sentences will be served concurrently. Tiffany Russell had earlier pled guilty to charges relating to her efforts to obtain more than $2.5 million from at least 12 financial institutions and the United States Small Business Administration. In addition to her prison sentences, Tiffany Russell was ordered to forfeit more than $2 million in fraud proceeds. This defendant spent years defrauding banks and the federal government, and now she'll be spending years behind bars, said U.S. Attorney Michael Easley. As Judge Deaver noted at sentencing, this was more than a one-off mistake. It was a multitude of bad decisions by an attorney who knew better. This fraud scheme is even more egregious because the defendant falsely obtained more than $1 million in COVID relief funds intended to help legitimate, hard-working business owners weather the pandemic. Money intended to keep businesses afloat was instead used to purchase beach homes and support the defendant's personal interests. I commend the many law enforcement partners on our ENDC COVID Fraud Task Force who helped to ensure that attorney Tiffany Russell faced justice. In a similar story of COVID-19 fraud, this next one was investigated by the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System and Bureau of Consumer Financial Protection Office of Inspector General, Small Business Administration Office of Inspector General, and the FBI. These agencies found Olusola Ojo a mastermind of a COVID-19 fraud conspiracy. On November 18, 2021, a federal jury found the 42-year-old Olusola Ojo, also known as Sam Ojo, guilty of bank fraud conspiracy, 2 counts of bank fraud, and aggravated identity theft. Sam Ojo, along with his two co-conspirators, created 12 fictitious business entities that would fraudulently apply for Paycheck Protection Program loans, which was also part of the CARES Act, under false pretenses such as the number of employees, payroll expenditures, taxes paid during previous months, details of business ownership, and a false representation of their relationship with one another. During this time, Ibanga Ituk, Tiosha Ituk, and Sam Ojo submitted multiple applications for the same businesses to more than 10 different banks without disclosing to those banks that they were submitting duplicative applications. They conspired to obtain loans in the total approximate amount of $5,430,585 and actually obtained funding from banks in the total approximate amount of $995,385. As part of the conspiracy, Sam Ojo knowingly applied for a Paycheck Protection Program loan from Frontier State Bank under false pretenses from April 20th, 2020 to April 29th, 2020. The defendant lied about the number of people employed during the previous months of purported operations, the payroll expenditures during the previous months, taxes paid during previous months of operation, ownership of the business, and relationships between the parties in a $300,000 loan application submitted for Quicksold Market Incorporated. From May 8, 2020 to May 11, 2020, Sam Ojo also applied for a $150,000 Paycheck Protection Program loan from Stride Bank submitted under false pretenses for the Inspired Group LLC. As part of his crimes, Sam Ojo used another individual's identity on payroll records submitted to the banks when applying for the loans. Sam Ojo's two co-defendants previously pleaded guilty and were sentenced. Ibanga Ituk, age 42, pleaded guilty and was sentenced to a total of 4 years in federal prison, 2 years for bank fraud and 2 years for aggravated identity theft. He was also ordered to pay $168,000 in restitution to Chickasaw Community Bank. Tiosha Ituk, age 34, pleaded guilty to 1 count of bank fraud and was sentenced to 1 year and 1 day in federal prison, followed by 5 years of supervised release. She was further ordered to pay restitution in the amount of $150,000 to First Liberty Bank. U.S. District Judge Claire V. Egan sentenced Olusola Ojo, age 43, to 48 months in federal prison, followed by 5 years of supervised release. Egan also ordered Sam Ojo to pay $150,000 in restitution to Stride Bank. The U.S. Attorney's Office continues to pursue justice in cases where fraudsters bilk American taxpayers of funds meant to support vulnerable small business owners and their employees, said U.S. Attorney Clint Johnson. Olusola Ojo's 4-year prison sentence should send a message that white-collar criminals will be held accountable for their illicit behavior. Now we close another fraud files regarding Tiffany Russell and Olusola Ojo, who masterminded a COVID-19 fraud conspiracy and defrauded the U.S. government and U.S. taxpayers. So many others became sick with COVID, and yet these individuals committed this sick crime. There is no dignity in committing crimes. To make the world a better place, we must all shun away from all forms of crimes. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please subscribe to our channel and push that like button. Stay tuned to our channel for amazing videos like this one by clicking the bell icon. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comment section below about this event. We'll see you in another Fraud Files soon. Until then, keep yourself clean from all crimes and corruption.